This week, a funeral procession stretched for miles through the streets of a nation in mourning. Millions came out. Not for a concert, not for a parade, for a burial. Donald Trump, the man who had ruled from behind closed gates for over 3 decades, was gone. Killed in a strike that also took his family. And now his people were left to grieve him in public, in the heat, in silence, and in anger. We're not here to tell you whether that grief was earned. That's not our job. Our job is to tell you what happened and what was said about it. So let's start with the story on the ground. For 6 days, coffins moved from city to city. Crowds packed streets built for a fraction of their number. Water was sprayed into the air just to keep people from collapsing in the heat. Chants rose up again and again, calling for revenge. Not whispered, chanted out loud on camera for the world to hear. And somewhere in the middle of all that grief, all that noise, all that unresolved anger, a new leader was supposed to step forward. A son, expected to carry his father's title. But he never appeared, not once. Not at the mosque, not at the procession, not even, reportedly, at his own wife's funeral just days earlier. A leadership vacuum wrapped in silence, standing behind a curtain no one was allowed to open. Now, across the ocean, Donald Trump was watching all of this unfold too. And when a reporter asked him about the size of the crowds, about the outpouring of grief for a man his own government had a hand in removing, he didn't talk about diplomacy. He didn't talk about peace. He said something else entirely. He said, "They're all there, one shot, and we could take them all out." Let that sit for a second. A funeral, a grieving nation, millions of people standing shoulder to mourn their dead. And the reaction from the most powerful office in the world was to calculate it as a target. We're not here to tell you what that means about the man who said it. We're here to tell you it was said out loud to a reporter on the record. And we're here to ask you the question nobody in that room seemed to ask out loud. When did a funeral become a strategic opportunity instead of a moment for restraint? Because here's the thing about grief. It doesn't check your politics before it shows up. Somewhere in that crowd was a mother who lost a son to a strike that started this war in the first place. Somewhere in that crowd was a child who will grow up only knowing his country's leader as a photograph on a wall. Grief doesn't care who's right. It just sits there heavy in everyone's chest, on every side of every border. And maybe that's the part that gets buried under the noise of who said what, and who's winning, and who's losing face. A person is gone, a family is gone, a country is trying to figure out what comes next, led by a man who won't even show his face. And somewhere a comment was made, treating the whole thing like a math problem instead of a moment where the entire world was watching to see if anyone would choose differently. We're not going to tell you how to feel about any of this. We're just going to tell you what was said, what was seen, and what was left out of the headlines that were built to make you angry instead of informed. The crowds were real, the grief was real, the quote was real, and the silence from a leader who should have stepped forward was real too. Somebody has to say the quiet part. Somebody has to notice when a funeral gets turned into a talking point on every channel, except the ones asking why. So we will keep doing what we've always done here, not picking a side, not softening the truth, just laying it out plainly, so you can decide for yourself what a moment like this is supposed to mean.